Hello summoners and welcome back to another ProGuides video. My name is Christoph and today I'll be going over everything you need to know to control minion waves with ease.
Yeah. Siege.
Learning how to manage minion waves is one of the most essential parts for becoming a better player, and the best part is, it's not as hard as it seems. While most players on the Rift focus on their mechanics and champion mastery, the best players in the world, such as Dopa and Faker, focus primarily on their minion wave management and macro play. But before we get started, I do want to mention that there are courses on ProGuides.com and challenger-level coaches available 24/7 to help you guys out with your wave management if you need a little bit more help after this video. Make sure to check it all out using the link below, and without further ado, let's jump right in. After consistent rank 1 finishes on multiple servers and easily achieving Challenger with over an 80% win rate, it's safe to say that Dopa is the best solo queue player on the planet. However, unlike Faker, Dopa isn't a mechanical genius. Instead, Dopa makes up for his lack of mechanics with his impeccable minion wave management and godlike macro play. He's mastered every aspect of wave manipulation, which ultimately allows him to have complete control over the enemy laner. By mastering this skill, Dopa relieves pressure off the map and allows his team to play more freely during the laning phase. Let's start with our first topic, which is some basic information about minions. There are 3 different types of lane minions in League of Legends: melee minions, caster minions, and siege minions, but they're better known as cannon minions. Melee minions are the frontline tanks, caster minions are the backline damage dealers, and siege minions are both tanky and deal damage, so they're a mix of both. As of this current patch, siege minions spawn every 3rd wave, starting at 2 minutes and 5 seconds. From 15 minutes, they spawn every other wave, and after 25 minutes, they spawn every wave. Remember, this part is a little bit basic, but stay with me. After minion waves start to spawn, they'll walk in a straight path toward their designated lane assignments and start fighting the first target they see. If there are multiple targets, then the minions will refer back to a strict priority system to choose who they attack. For more information on the priority system, check out the description link below because it's a little lengthy. Your minions will continue to attack the enemy minions unless you auto-attack the enemy laner or hit them with a targeted spell such as Annie's Q. Drawing minion aggro can be dangerous, especially during the early game, so make sure to trade wisely. Having a few caster minions hit you during level 1 can chunk your HP bar pretty bad and force you to drink a potion early on. Alright, now let's talk about wave management. There are 3 different types of minion management, which are freezing, slow pushing, and fast pushing. Each of these are used in different scenarios depending on a number of factors. You'll be using fast and slow pushes in every game, while freezes are a little bit more situational. Fast pushing is when you're killing all the enemy minions as fast as possible, and it's the easiest wave management tactic of the 3. Yep, it's that simple. Just quickly kill the enemy minions so your minion wave can crash into their turret. The more difficult aspect of this tactic is knowing when to use it. You want to start a fast push if you want to recall or impact the map by roaming, or to pressure your opponent and deny CS if they're a champion like Anivia who can't farm under turret early, or to set up for a dive with your jungler on the enemy laner, or for an early level advantage for those level 2 or level 6 all-ins, or even to have lane priority before a neutral objective is about to spawn. There are even more reasons why you would want to fast push the lane. Here are some more on screen, and there's even more that you can find on ProGuides.com. With this being said, there are a few things you need to worry about while you are fast pushing a wave. The first and most obvious is to be careful for ganks. Having to constantly use your abilities to clear the opposing wave will leave you in a vulnerable position in the lane with no cooldowns to escape a gank. Also note that failing to execute a fast push once you've committed to it can single-handedly lose you the lane. If your minions don't reach the enemy tower, then your opposing laner can create a freeze at that spot and force you to overextend in the lane in order to CS. The second wave management tactic is called a freeze. A freeze keeps minion waves in a spot that is safe for you and/or dangerous for your opponent. You'll want to freeze waves when you're stronger than the enemy opponent and you want to make them risk dying in order to farm, or your opponent has a little roam threat and you want to deny them farm, or if it's dangerous for you to farm so you want to be closer to your turret. There's a number of other reasons that we'll list here on the screen, but if you guys want more in-depth material on freezing, then go to ProGuides.com. Freezes tend to be stronger when your goal is to safely farm up. One downside of freezing, however, is that it gives your enemies opportunities to roam. Make sure you use them when your opponent will have difficulty pressuring elsewhere. Even when the meta favors champions who have strong gank potential, you can still use short freezes to build leads. Just make sure that you're ready to switch to a fast push if your opponents commit to ganking another lane. Great players make use of short freezes, transitioning them into slow or fast pushes consistently throughout the game as they see fit. Now let's talk about how to freeze a lane. To freeze a lane, you need the wave to always be pushing toward you. You want to let your minion wave die and then prevent the enemy minion wave from reaching your turret. It's pretty simple, but there are rules you need to follow. You'll need to let the enemy minion wave have a number advantage based on the position of where you want the freeze to happen. As the freeze gets further from the center of the lane, you'll need to keep more minions alive to maintain the freeze. In the center, it's 1, and you'll need 4 right outside the turret. One cool trick you can use is after your minion wave dies, you can tank the enemy minion wave and drag it to a better spot to begin the freeze. For example, if all your minions die close to your turret and there's only 2 minions left in the enemy wave, you can pull the wave closer to the center to start a freeze. While these same concepts apply in the mid lane, it's not as viable to keep a freeze going for too long. The mid lane is short, making it easy to retreat to the turret. As a result, there's a lot less risk involved when stepping up to break a freeze. Regardless, you'll be able to use freezes in any lane to gain small leads and pressure your opponent during the laning phase. While freezing is a great way to bully opponents, there will be games where you'll find greater leads using slow pushes instead. Unlike fast pushes, you'll need to be a little bit more tactful to execute a slow push. In a sense, slow pushing is the flip side of the same coin as freezing. While it uses the same concept of determining which way the lane will push, your goal is to make it push to the enemy turret instead of yours. You want the wave to push naturally based on the wave's position and numbers, only last hitting the minions. Especially in skirmish-heavy metas, slow pushes are the bread and butter of effective plays, and all high elo players achieve their ranks using them. Here's some advantages to slow pushing. 1, you'll have a minion wave advantage, making it harder for your opponents to trade. 2, with the pressure of a bigger wave, you can play aggressively and deny them farm. 3, by crashing bigger waves into their turret, you give yourself larger time windows to either deep ward or roam. And here are some other reasons why you'd want to slow push. So to understand slow pushes, there's one thing you need to know. When minion waves are even, whichever side the wave is closer to has a pushing advantage. That sounds complicated, but it's a lot easier to understand when you see it instead. Because this minion wave is closer to the blue side turret, it will slow push. Slow pushing doesn't end after the laning phase. In fact, it's the most important way to manage a minion wave later into the game. If you ever wonder how some players get so much farm and also manage to be in every team fight, then we want you to know that it's through slow pushing. There are 2 ways to utilize slow pushes in the mid to late game. 1, letting the waves push by themselves, or 2, building and crashing them. If you want to let the wave push by itself, go to a side lane where the minion wave is closer to your side of the map. You'll want to thin the enemy wave and adjust it to meet your goals. Clearing caster minions will keep your minions healthier and speed up the push slightly. Clearing melee minions speeds up the push significantly. For example, if you want a gradual push that makes a giant wave, you'll want to clear 1 or 2 caster minions and then leave the wave alone. You'll use this when there's a cross-map objective that everyone wants to be at and the enemy team doesn't have teleport to stop you. This method is much stronger when the top laners are both playing tanks. Since their wave clear is slow and they play essential roles in teamfights, whoever has to catch these big waves risks having their team get engaged on and losing the game. What's used more commonly in faster-paced games is building and crashing waves. To do this, you start with a slow push and give your next minion wave time to reach the wave you're slow pushing. After building up the wave, you transition into a fast push to crash it into the enemy turret. If someone comes to catch this wave, you now have an opportunity to roam and start a fight. If nobody catches it, you have the option to commit to split pushing or grouping with your team while the enemy team loses all the minions you pushed in. By understanding these concepts, experimenting with them in your games, and learning to gain leads with them, players of all levels can expect to see their gameplay skyrocket. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys want to see more videos like this, subscribe to our channel. We also have a ton more content on ProGuides.com where we've worked with our partnered pro players to help you guys take your gameplay to the next level. We hope that you continue to improve by watching our videos and through ProGuides.com. Until next time, have a wonderful day, good luck in your next few games, and we'll see you on the Rift.